So Donald Trump is introducing the executive order. So the executive order will it's going to emphasize a player. It's going to emphasize one transfer. So you have one free transfer, and the only reason you can transfer again is if you graduate. So you can transfer a second time. So it puts the emphasis on getting your degree, and the goal is to prevent free agency every year. So Emma, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's a good model that can sustain a long time?
I think that this is something that you'll see the NCAA very divided over. We're seeing people on both sides of it saying any little bit will help, even if the president gets involved in it. And then we see others being like, this is not going to help one bit. And from my understanding, it's already been introduced in the past, and courts have already rejected this, and so I think it'll be interesting how it plays out and that the order will become more clear in August. Because as far as we're concerned right now, it is just being presented and it's not a definite answer. So I'm very interested for when August comes around to see if the court is still divided over this issue.
And another thing is a lot of people are going to say, how can he enforce this? So universities that do not comply with this composition or guardrails risk can lose federal grants or contracts, which is a massive financial like lever the government is using to force schools to like follow the rules. So like you would see like now, like for example, we talked about another episode, you weren't on here, but we talked about how Dabo Swinney sort of put the old Miss team on blast for tampering. So it's like, okay, nothing's gonna happen. Like who's gonna do something about it? But when you have money involved like this, it could sort of make schools like, okay, like we don't want to mess around with that.
I would say my follow-up question to you, and I'd love to know your opinion on this, is how much do you think that our president should be involved with college sports and putting out an executive order like this?
Yeah, I don't mind it because I feel like college football just they just need somebody like to lead it. I just wish they would have a commissioner. I'm not saying I wish the president would be the commissioner, but I just feel like it just takes somebody to just take a lead on it and just like put their foot down and say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Like this is nonsense. We're not gonna keep having guys transfer every year 4 times because these guys aren't gonna keep graduating. If you just transfer 4 times, if you transfer to let's say you transfer to USC to LSU, LSU to La Tech, La Tech to Southern Miss to like West Alabama. You're going to like 4 or 5 different states, and you're not transferring. The credits aren't transferring, and then you're not getting your education. It's just teaching kids to, I mean, quit. I mean, start over. It's not teaching kids to, to fight when stuff is tough. So, I mean, I like it. I'm definitely not opposed to it. You got anything else on it?
That was it. I mean, you kind of were saying what I was gonna say. I'm not opposed to it. I really do wonder how far this will go, especially when the president gets involved with things like this.
Do you think the one-time transfer is a good thing, or do you think they should maybe have two free transfers?
I would say personally, I like the one time transfer. We had talked about this on a previous episode that I was on, just thinking of it. And I'll reiterate what I said last time about from the fan perspective. It makes a lot more sense to limit it to just a one time transfer instead of, maybe transferring year after year. And kind of what Trump and his executive order was looking at was the 5 for 5 eligibility and athletes, having 5 years to play and 5 seasons. So I like that and I like that aspect of it.
Okay, cool.